kill it. I was meant to win. I am down and willing, so I will find a way. It took a minute, now it didn't happen right away. When it get hot in the kitchen, you decide to stay. That's how it winners made. Stick a fork in the hater on my dinner plate. I walk into the fire like it's just a bit of flame. I switch my style up, watch the money pile up. I'ma get rich with life.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Podcast, where we're in the middle of a series where we're trying to highlight as many of the Masters CrossFit Games athletes as we possibly can do. And today, I get to catch up with an old friend, Kelly. What's going on, Kelly?
How's it going? It's going great.
Yeah. So before we get into my questions, Corey Leonard was here early, and he said, that is a fantastic picture. The picture I chose for the thumbnail.
Yep. That's been a popular one.
Yeah. It's your cheese grins, or whatever you want to call them, into the cameras are almost iconic.
I'm glad that's what I'm known for. If I have to be known for something, I don't mind that one.
Yeah. It's as I was doing these, I was like, I want to get as fun of a picture as I can find of the person instead of just the standard workout picture.
Yeah.
But you know what's crazy is everybody does reels now.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, nobody does pictures.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to find a still photo these days.
It is so hard. So then I have to try to screenshot it and hit just the right moment that it's not too blurry.
Yeah.
Or, whatever. But thankfully, you still do some still photography.
Well, yes. Yeah. My husband still does some still photography.
Right. You still post still photography.
Still post still photography.
Which is awesome. Makes my life a whole lot easier.
Well, you're welcome. I'll tell him.
Yeah, it's all about me.
Yeah.
So, man, it's been a little over a year since we've talked.
Yeah, I guess it was.
West semifinals last year,
Mm-hmm.
probably. And back then, you kind of threw out that was going to be your last go, and that you were going to focus on other things in life.
Yeah, that's what I did.
And here we are a year later, and you're going to your first ever CrossFit Games.
I am. The irony.
Isn't that wild?
I know. It's pretty crazy.
So let's clean up some stuff. You actually qualified in the elite individual semifinals again.
I did.
Year, and you chose to decline that invitation and focus on Masters.
Yep.
Can you explain to us why that was the decision? Is it just the new focus or other things?
There were a lot of factors involved. I wasn't really expecting or planning to qualify in the open division. So I just, I guess that wasn't the expectation. So it was a nice surprise to know that I could, but, we were in a big building phase for, some of the programs that I'm working on right now. And, I was in, a big pivotal phase trying to get on seminar staff and all of those things. And so it was just kind of not in the life priorities. It would have been really hard to put together the time, the energy, the money. It would have meant that I competed it would have been, I think it was quarterfinals. I forget which came first. Individual semifinals, Masters semifinals, all within a 4-week period.
Yeah, flip it and you're right.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Masters semifinals, then individual semifinals.
Yeah. And that was just kind of it would have been a lot within a really short time frame. And it would have totally pulled my focus away from everything that I was trying to prioritize in my life. I would have had to focus on competition just to take care of my body and make sure that I didn't break in all of that. And so and plus the travel and the expense and everything, we were kind of just this is just it's a really cool thing. It would have been, there was definitely a bittersweet moment of like, oh, they brought it back to the tennis stadium. And of course, like the year it's at the tennis stadium, I said no. um, so, like hopefully they do that again in the future, and, maybe I'll be in a different place next time. But this year it just, wasn't the right thing to prioritize.
So you said something there that I learned, and so we're going to dive down that road. I know as many times as I've talked to you, coaching is very important to you.
Yeah.
You were trying to make seminar staff. How did that go? And when did that become a priority?
Yeah, no, I'm on seminar staff now, so it went really well. Yep. So I started coaching seminars, and I mean, seminar staff has been a goal that I've wanted to chase since I got my level 2 many years ago. And I just knew that I couldn't do that and be a competitive athlete at the same time well. There's a lot of travel, it's a demanding schedule, it's demanding on your energy, and I just wanted to make sure that I could give what I needed to give to it. I don't like doing things halfway. Thank you for whoever said congrats.
Uplift WAD.
Yeah, that
Mark
was.
Moss, I think, is who's sending that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a really big goal for me, and so that was one of the things that I had in mind when I said last year was going to be my last, year prioritizing competition. As soon as my season was done, I immediately started the process of applying for seminar staff and going through their internship process and all of that stuff. And it's a long process, and it takes a lot of work. And even when you're on staff, there's still a huge learning curve. So there's a lot of studying and a lot of learning, and a lot of, you're taking a lot of feedback and you're iterating. And so it's a big commitment. It takes a lot of time, just even outside the seminars, to learn all the material and be able to present well and learn their format and everything like that.
So if you've ever been to an L1, there's lots of pieces to it, right? Yeah. And someone different teaches each piece generally at an L1. And then there's a flow master who kind of keeps it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Is the eventual goal to be able to do all facets, including be a flow master? Or you just, hey, I'm here, I'm just soaking it in and learning what I can, and then we'll worry about those goals next year?
No, the goal is always to go to the top of whatever I'm doing. So
perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I want to learn as much as I can. I want to, get as much experience as I can. And it's definitely, I don't think it happens quickly. You have to get a lot of seminars under your belt. It's like a very slow step-by-step process. But yes, that is the path we're on. And that's the long-term goal, is to be able to, coach every piece of the L1 and hopefully take a leadership role someday.
That's, and of course you will.
Yeah.
So I was watching something with Dave. He's done so much lately, it's hard to figure out which one it was.
It is hard to keep track.
He mentions your name in something where he was like, I think he was on with Savon, and he was talking about how that he didn't know many of the athletes he interviewed, but there were some athletes he did because he uses them a lot for testing because they're close. And he mentions your name. Mm-hmm. How lucky are you that you lived close enough to form that relationship with Dave and be his tester? And did that help you in gaining seminar staff status?
I'm so lucky. Yeah. That was just an amazing, amazing opportunity to just be asked to come test and, be Dave's punching bag for, whenever he needed me. And it's been super fun. It's always fun to go down to the ranch and be a part of that, creative process that he goes through in creating the programming. I always think it's super fascinating to watch his brain work and watch him put pieces together and, make adjustments and, and to play a role in, giving feedback on how things felt or what my strategy was or what my approach was. And all of that is a super cool process to be on the other side of things. And I feel very, very lucky that I've had the opportunity to be part of that for the last several years. And I think that's a cool thing to even, be a part of now. It's kind of like, well, hey, now that I'm not competing, I got no horse in the game in the individual field. So, throw me in wherever you want.
Yeah. And it says a lot about you because a tester isn't just doing the workout and they're observing and taking the time down. They want the feedback from you as to how it felt, what your strategy was, all those things. And that had to go a long way in helping you prepare for seminar staff.
Yeah, I mean, so in terms of seminar staff, I think it was, I don't think that I would say it helped me get on seminar staff in the sense that, like, it's a pretty rigorous process. Like, you have to, it's definitely not, people who got good connections are in kind of game, like I took a lot of feedback, no matter how much experience you have as a coach, even the people who have been on staff for a decade, like that's part of the culture is you're like constantly taking lots of feedback, and expected to be constantly improving. And, so like a big part of it is them just figuring out, if you're the right person, if you're the right the person to fit in with that culture, can you take a lot of feedback? Are you about the right things, and are you living, the values that you're preaching? But I do think it was really valuable in the sense that, being in Santa Cruz gives me access to, I've just known a lot of the OG CrossFitters, I've being around Santa Cruz has given me access to people like Annie Sakamoto and Pat Barber and, Hollis. And, there's, seminar staff members that have been, on seminar staff for decades or flow masters and have a lot of experience with that format. And so the fortunate thing for me that I think really benefited me is just that I know those people, and I was able to reach out and, say, hey, can you help me? What should I do? How should I prepare? Can you watch me coach? If I show you what my plan is, can you give me some feedback? And I really utilized that to, I guess for guidance, for mentorship, and I think that's definitely valuable if you're, just being local and having those connections.
Corey Leonard says Pat Barber's facial hair is fitter than I am.
It's probably true for most people. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really awesome. I think that the sport and the methodology, for lack of a better term, seminar staff, there was a time where so many of the athletes were on seminar staff.
Yeah.
And we've gotten away from that. And I think that the more we can make that connection, and I think some of the athletes are gravitating back to that. And I love seeing that. And so you jumping into that is just a cool thing to happen.
Yeah. I mean, when I was growing up in CrossFit, I mean, I was older when I started CrossFit, I guess. So I didn't grow up in CrossFit the way that the kids grow up now. But all of my idols, all of my CrossFit idols were on seminar staff. They were athletes, and they were incredible athletes, and they were also on seminar staff, and they were teaching, this methodology that I think was so new and revolutionary at the time. And so that was a big influence on me.
Yeah. So let's talk about your season a little bit. Because of this and going through that journey of getting on the seminar staff, How important was the season, even in just the Masters part?
How important was it?
Like on the priority list,
Oh, I see.
was it top 3? Was it top 5?
Yeah. It was maybe around that 3 or 4 position. Yeah, like it was sort of career and family time and then training. And the career had kind of a couple of pieces to it, between seminar staff and some of the programs that I've been working on. And then I needed to sort of balance my life out and spend time with family and friends and, work on taking care of my relationships that matter most to me in my life. That, definitely some of that stuff gets put on the back burner more than I would have liked when you're competing at the level that I was competing at. And so I guess third-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you go into quarters, you finish 10th in your age group.
Yep.
Then you go into semis, you finish 12th. I'd say you're a better in-person competitor than you are an online competitor.
For sure. I would say that too. How do you know?
So kind of the weird thing and the cool thing for you is Masters finished in early May, maybe for semifinals.
Yeah.
And then you have this long break until the games, till Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Are you able, or do you have any desire to pick up the training as you get closer to the games and just say, okay, family time, I want to do that, but just for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, I can do this?
Yeah. That was the plan. I did have a plan of like, all right, 8 weeks before the games, we're going to do a slightly more intense training cycle. I can shift my schedule back to, get a little more training volume in and feel a little more prepared for the CrossFit Games. And it's not totally working out the way that I had planned. So I got sick, probably COVID, like week 1. I was like, all right, week 1 of this 8-week program, and I'm out. I was out for the whole week.
Like I said, 6 or 4.
Yeah, I know. So like, all right, this is a 7-week cycle, and then literally yesterday we were like, all right, started rebuilding. It took me maybe another week to get my lungs back after that, and started rebuilding. And literally yesterday, our dog, she needs a double knee surgery. And we were really hoping that we could hold off on it till after the games. But she's got to do it now. So she's going in next week. And it's going to be an intense 2 weeks before the games.
Wow.
So we'll see. I mean, I'm doing what I can, but we just launched our Fire Pre-Academy program that I've been working on. I've got a seminar in a couple of weeks. I'm coaching, and my dog's getting surgery. So those are just, things that are more important on the list right now. And I'm getting the training in where I can. I'm trying to get as much volume in as I can, and at least expose myself to some of the heavier, more unique things that show up at the games. We'll see how it goes.
So, wow. It's just a crazy life, isn't it? Like you have so your dog's name is Harley, right?
Yes.
And big dog.
Yeah, she's a 85-pound pity mix.
Yeah. From pictures, almost looks Great Danish size, but maybe not that big.
Not that big. Yeah, she's more of like a thick girl, a little stocky, maybe a little taller than your average pity, but yeah.
You see who our sponsor is, right?
That's right. Clydesdale.
Well, and we're sponsored by Thick Boy.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a thick girl.
So we need to get her some clothes from Thick Boy.
Absolutely, she'll rock them.
Yeah. So the recovery for that, I'm assuming, is going to put a lot on you.
Yeah.
Double knee surgery. Wow.
Double knee surgery. And my husband just launched his apparel brand. So we're just doing a lot of things. We decided everything at once was the good strategy.
Let's pick the busiest time in our lives and have everything all done in 2 months.
That's right.
Yeah. I saw Lance is launching the barbells and breakdowns.
Barbells and breakdowns.
Apparel, which is so cool. I watch his videos on Instagram all the time.
Do you?
Yeah. And I love that when like games athletes jump in and send them back, and it's great. It's great stuff.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So with all that, what are your realistic goals for the games?
I actually just had this conversation with Hunter, my coach, because I was like, all right, I need some help with expectation management here because it's weird going into the biggest competition of the year feeling less prepared than I normally do. But I think that was going to feel like that anyway. I put so much into preparation and training the last 3 years that anything less was going to feel like being unprepared to me. So, it definitely is a weird mental thing to work around. But I think that what has come out of it for me is that there's so many other things going on that are big priorities, and I'm really focused on. Training and competing need to stay the fun part of my day on a daily basis. And that's sort of our operating plan right now is, I need to have fun with training. I need to keep my body healthy. I need to have fun at the games. I need to enjoy the experience and soak it up and, have a good time against a really impressive group of competitors, and I'll test myself. I'll push myself, at 3, 2, 1, go. Like, you turn it on. And hopefully I'll, have what I need in me when it's time to go. But at the end of the day, it's the fun part of my life right now. So we're going to go and enjoy the experience and compete as hard as we can, see where that lands us.
I'm going to try to phrase this the best. So you were epically known for just missing the games a couple years in a row.
Yep.
And in these iconic finishes where 1 point made the difference, right?
Yep. Couple of times.
Will anything you accomplish in Masters overtake that you missed out then?
Yeah, I think that's a hard question. I don't have the answer to that yet, I guess. There were some big moments, but I think there's always, it's just different, I think you're proud of different things. I guess like there were some really big moments when I was competing on the teams as well. I was a team athlete for a really long time first, and there were some really incredible moments while I was competing on the team. And, the teams don't get as much attention. And, we were competing in the weird sanctional year where everything was everywhere. And it was kind of hard to follow, but like, there were some really cool moments that I'm really proud of. And were really special because you were with a team and you were so close and you'd been through so much together. And, that was a shared experience that meant a lot to me. And so those are big highs. And I've had some big highs on the individual field. I'm really proud of the work that I've done and what I've accomplished. And yes, there's all those bittersweet moments of just missing the target. But I think, like there's some moments in there that are just as big, but different. And I don't know that I could like stack one over the other. Because it's just such a different phase of life. It's such a different feel. And I think that maybe that will be the case in the masters division as well. I expect that there's going to be big moments in my future in the masters division. I expect that there's going to be things that I'm really proud of. And maybe those will be special because I'm doing other things that are important to me in my life at the same time, like I'm building my career, I'm spending time with my family. Eventually we want to have kids, I'm going to do that and I'm going to compete. And, it's going to be, I think maybe a really fulfilling experience to be able to do that and compete, and achieve things that I want on the competition floor as well. And I think that, maybe those things will just feel like big accomplishments in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I had my daughter, like everything in perspective of everything changed.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're then sharing it with something that, or someone that you never even imagined the love that you could have. Right. And
Yeah.
and so everything just became different. So I can see that totally.
Yeah, and you're doing it for a different reason, like everything has a different purpose behind it. Everything's all about like the example that you set for her and what you're showing her is possible. And like, I think that's changes everything.
So Corey says at 3, 2, 1, she becomes Kelly.
Yeah. We just add more Kellys.
The third Kelly is
That's right.
And then Uplift Watt asks, what did you do when you found out your spouse's last name was Kelly?
The first thing I did was I told him that he couldn't tell anyone. Because I was on the team at that point, and I was like, my teammates will never, like, I'll never hear the end of it. They will never let me live this down, and you can't tell them.
I'll be honest with you. So I met you as Kelly Clark.
That's right.
And then you became Kelly. And I thought at first it was a joke. I thought you were just like doing a joke on Instagram that became your handle, whatever. And then it took me midway through interviewing you, like at one time interview it was Kelly Clark, the next time it became Kelly. And then it just was weird.
Yeah.
It just me trying to figure it out, like what was reality and what was she joking? Was she? And then I got it together.
About this.
So
it took me a while. It took me a little while to embrace it. At first, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. We might have to talk about like different last names, or but I don't know. The more the longer we went, the more I sat with it. It's kind of one of those things where you either have to like cut it off and say, no, we're not doing that, or you just got to embrace it and run with it. And it's turned out to be really fun. So
yeah. I can just imagine going to like the DMV or whatever, and they're like, what's your first name? Kelly. What's your last name? Kelly. No, your last name.
Yep. Yeah. Every time, all paperwork, so confusing.
Yeah. I want to finish up with just two fun questions or about things outside of the competition space. We talked a couple times ago about a program you started called K2.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, it was very much in the fire department and developing training to keep firemen fit for their jobs.
Yep.
it appears now that you've made this like a full remote programming that anybody can get into, or is it still like first responder specific?
So yeah, we have a few different branches. The remote program is something that anyone can get into. We started it for our firefighters, but we were beta testing it at the gym, with classes at the gym, and it ended up going so well that it's just expanded. We've had to add more and more classes at the gym, and it's been really great for our older population of athletes. It's been great for, the gym is owned by a physical therapy clinic. And so it's been great for people who are kind of graduating from physical therapy and returning to activity. Maybe they still have some limitations and some rehab they have to work through. And so it's been really great for that. And then, so we put it out and available. The individual program is available remotely for anyone that wants to use it. And then the fire program has expanded. It's the ongoing program. We work with local fire department, Santa Cruz Fire here, as an ongoing live program. So we give them programming on a weekly basis that they can do 5 days a week. And then we're just starting to branch out. We're working with Pasadena Fire now to do a lot of like injury risk assessments and movement assessments. And then we've written a pre-academy preparation program that just launched yesterday. So we're taking their...
Because again, you had to fit everything into 2 months.
Yes, everything had to be right at the same time. So it's a 10-week program that their recruits for the Fire Academy are going through to prepare them for the Fire Academy. So we went down to Pasadena for a couple of days. We did a whole lot of testing, all the movement screens and injury risk assessments. And based on that, they get a corrective exercise program, and then they get put through this 10-week remote program, and they get access to us as coaches. They get to, talk to me, and I'll send them feedback. They send me videos. We, track their progress and all of that stuff. And the goal is that they are fit enough to make it through the academy and as bulletproof as we can make them so that they don't get injured during the academy. And then the bigger goal is to give them the tools that they need to make sure they know how to train appropriately. They know how to take care of any issues or flare-ups that might come up. They know how to rehab their body. They know how to recover properly from both the physical and the mental stress of academy. And we really want to provide them the tools that they need, not just for the academy, but then setting themselves up for a successful career.
Yeah, it was a very innovative program, and it if I remember correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it's a lot about listening to your body and giving you alternatives if you have those nicks or aches in a place that you can kind of avoid that or rehab that, as opposed to just doing the class workout that's written as on the board.
Yes. Yeah. A big part of the K2 program is its emphasis on recovery work, but using movement as a recovery tool. So you still get your movement practice in, you're still taking care of your body and making forward progress with your fitness, but making sure that, we're doing a low intensity flush, that we're reestablishing good movement quality and activation patterns. There's a lot of very PT prehab influence into our recovery flows, but it requires that that you learn your body and you learn when you need to prioritize recovery and when you need when you're able to go hard, and then we give you the tools that you need to decide which one's best for you.
Yeah, it was so super cool, and I'm glad that it's expanded and it's doing so well. And if people are interested, they can just reach out to you on Instagram or...
Yeah, on Instagram. I have K2 Performance has an Instagram account. The programming is on StreamFit, so it's available there. And yeah. probably the best ways to reach me.
Back to your name. You actually can't fill out paperwork wrong. You know how many times I've put my last name in the first name column and vice versa, and then had to get the whiteout out or whatever. You don't have
it's
a
easy
problem.
paperwork. Although the problem is that they always hand it back to me. They're like, "Excuse me, you did this wrong."
So my last question is, you're a Misfit athlete,
Mhm.
and they always do an amazing job with shirts for you guys
Yeah.
every year that are individualized for each one of you.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to ask why your shirt has the stuff it has. So I'm going to pull it up so that everybody can see it. And this is your game shirt.
Yeah, you got the whole breakdown right there.
Yeah. So the wolf in its pack,
Mhm.
beauty and strength, and first and last name, Kelly, and a second Kelly.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, the wolf has always been, I have my roots in team competition as a team player. And so, you know, that Rudyard Kipling quote has always really resonated with me. And even on the individual field, I think that a big strength of mine has been the support team around me and the community that is behind me. And so that's something that always means a lot to me. And so I kind of just see the wolf as, a pack animal. And yeah, and then flowers, being strong and fierce, but also beautiful and graceful. I kind of see that in the wolf as well. That the flowers kind of bring that, you know, feel to it as well. And then that little Celtic symbol there is the Celtic symbol for inner strength. Kelly is a Celtic name at its roots. And I think that big part of my journey has been working on myself and working on the internal strength that it takes to compete and to succeed. And so that's been an important part of my growth in the sport.
That's really cool. And then are those colors picked by Misfit or you?
Who? You know what? I think Ted, who is the designer at Misfit, I think he threw those colors out first, and I went, yes, absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah,
Team effort for all.
yeah. He knew what I liked.
Well, my last question about Misfit is they're sending Paige to the games. I know they have a lot of Masters athletes too. Do you find yourself rooting for fellow Misfit athletes when they're on the floor?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's like a team concept to you.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's another reason that I like Misfit is that they kind of foster that team environment and that feel, and I really like that.
Thoughts on Dave putting out that there's going to be a training camp winner from the games?
Yeah, I know. That sounds really cool. Well, Misfit will definitely have the coolest athletes out there.
Yeah. I'm not sure that's one of the judging criteria, but
It should be. It should be.
Well, I want to thank you, Kelly, for taking out some time as always. Super fun talking to you. We're going to be in Birmingham.
Sweet.
We are doing we got access to do a full behind the scenes.
All right.
Just like Savon does with the regular games, we are doing that for the Masters athletes.
Super cool.
So we want to do that so that you guys have something featuring you guys and all that you've accomplished behind the scenes and getting to know all of you better. And this is the first step in that, is interviewing as many of you as we can.
That's amazing. This is super cool. I always love talking to you, Scott.
Yeah. So we will see you in Birmingham. Can't wait. And I can't wait to see you crush it on the floor. Even last question, with all this other stuff going on in your life and less training, does your body feel better than it has in the past?
My body does feel better. Yeah, my body feels great.
Well, there is a silver lining to all this.
It's true. It's nice to go into competition being like, hey, I feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with that, then maybe that's what you need this year.
Maybe it is.
All right. We'll see you in Birmingham. Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you to everybody in the chat for being here. You guys make this show what it is. And we will see everybody next time on the Clydesdale Media Podcast. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Scott.